Hi, I'm Vignesh and from Tech Circle, and today we are in conversation with the co-founder and CTO of Bounce, Varun, and he has headed Bounce operations for close to 5 years,
inception.
and it's creating waves in the ride-hailing segment. So let's just understand what are some of the major technologies that goes behind. Let's just get a bit more details from. Hi, Varun.
Hi, Agni. How are you?
Good. So, Varun, can you just brief me about how much of the Bounce experience is decided on the software built inside and the technologies built inside?
Almost all of it, Vignesh. Something that you would actually very immediately notice about Bounce is that it's all technology. There is very little manual intervention that happens in the entire experience. So right the moment from when you open the app to see what is nearby, to booking the bike and actually walking up to the bike and unlocking the bike and really riding it to your destination and locking and then ending the trip, there is nobody from Bounce that you would actually encounter. So technology pretty much drives the entire experience. Even in terms of what bikes are in need of, let's say, an intervention from the operations side, or what is the health of the bike? Is it good enough for us to be showing it to the user or not? It's pretty much data driven, and we have multiple data sources coming in from, let's say, the bike, the consumers, the operations executives. So there is a data lake that we form inside, and then we do a lot of analysis around this and take decisions on a fairly real-time basis as to what bikes are good enough and what bikes need intervention.
Brief me about the difference between what changes happen on the bike once it leaves the factory and once it goes onto the road as a Bounce bike. Right. What type of installations and what type of tests, sensors are put into the...
Right off the bat, you would see that there is no key in the Bounce vehicle. So what happens from a factory finish bike is we take the key out and we put our IoT in and we put our locks in. So what you see is a bike that is transformed from the traditional way of just turning the key around to something that you would do on an app. The IoT that goes into it is something that we have worked in-house. We have a team that designed the hardware for it, the firmware for it. We have a mechanical team which has really done an amazing job in figuring out what should be the lock, the seat lock, the helmet position, and there are so many sensors around the vehicle, how they interact with the IoT, the harness that connects them all.
How many IoT sensors are deployed on a Bounce?
Some of them are proprietary, some of them are that I would like to keep confidential.
Okay.
But
a number on the total number of sensors. Like for example, Ather has 50 sensors.
So what we do is, because we don't manufacture our own vehicles, we only tend to measure the health of these vehicles. Okay. And we don't have an output to drive these vehicles. So we have about close to 6 to 7 sensors out there that are just integrating with the vehicle, but the IoT itself has way more. It has more than 15 sensors that really regulate the battery, the location, the inertial measurements. That it has a lot more.
So what happens at the back end? Like what type of data are you collecting, and how is it being utilized to better the services?
So essentially, what is different about our service is that there is nobody at the beginning or the end of the ride to give us accurate data as to what the vehicle status is, like if it's good enough to go for the next ride or not. So the kind of data that comes in are accelerometer data, the inertial measurement units data, the fuel, the helmet, the battery, and the location. So we absorb all of this data and we take intelligent decisions around how good of a health status the vehicle has to either expose or not expose to the next user.
I guess your biggest advantage and disadvantage is being in India. What are some of the features, some of the cool features that you've taken up on the bike to ensure that you know there is a lot of negative stuff going on around bounce with the user's side? They're just leaving it on the highways, they're ransacking it. Some reports even suggest that they're burning it down. So how are you utilizing technology to avoid all of these unfortunate incidents in the future?
I'm glad you said advantages, because this is something that we keep coming across. When we started Bounce and the idea of Bounce, a lot of people told us that this is something that you can't do in India. I mean, this can't be done in India. And what I would like to say is this is done only in India. And the Bounce, like the dockless scooter sharing on a gasoline scooter, is only in India. And something that is really powering that is the power of community. The value that we add with Bounce service is something that is being understood and really appreciated by the user community, and they help us out a lot. People report the sightings that you mentioned, like the bad parking, bikes in bad health, puncture. We have a very large community who actually reports it to us, and we take actions on basis of that.
So currently, how many Bounce bikes are in the market, and you have aggressive scaling plans, right?
So we have about 13,000 vehicles in Bangalore alone. We have about 2,000 in Hyderabad, and we have plans to aggressively scale across the cities as well.
So such huge scaling will also mean that you need to bring in a few new technologies, understand your data better. So
True.
What are some of the plans that you have in place? What are some of the new features that you're trying to bring in to help you with such large numbers?
So there is a new version of IoT again going out, which will give us greater control, greater information about the bikes themselves. We have built our own operations app, which is giving us amazing, ability to do a very effective and efficient job in maintaining these bikes. We have a data science team which is doing an amazing job of optimizing such routes and optimizing the ETA and really getting a very good handle on the reliability aspect as well. We are using data science to actually derive amazing insights out of the pattern that we see of rides, and we are so the tenet of the business is to have the right bike at the right time at the right place. So we're using data science to actually get answers to all these three questions.
Thank you so much for talking to Tech Circle.
Thank you.
And we'll closely be monitoring Bounce and all of your technological advancements and also your growth.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for taking your time.